The Jeffrey Epstein case is often presented as an isolated moral collapse, the story of a single deviant individual who exploited wealth, power, and vulnerable minors. That framing is not just incomplete, it's intellectually dishonest. Epstein was not powerful because he was corrupt. He was protected because corruption is structurally embedded in systems of power. According to US Department of Justice's own records, Epstein received a non-prosecution agreement in 2008. That legal scholars such as Alan Dershowitz and investigative journalists like Julie Brown have described as extraordinary and unprecedented. So this agreement did not merely shield Epstein, it immunized unnamed co-conspirators. That detail matters because the Epstein case is not about sex crimes alone, it's about impunity. Political theorist Hannah Arendt warns that the most dangerous crimes are not committed by monsters, but by systems that normalize moral collapse. Epstein moved freely among politicians, royalty, intelligence circles, financiers, and academics, not because they were all criminals, but because silence itself had become a currency. Michael Foucault, as I remember, taught us that power does not primarily operate through force, but through networks, through what is allowed to be said, investigated, and remembered. Epstein's true crime was not abuse alone. It was revealing how cheaply truth can be buried when power is inconvenienced. So even after his arrest in 2019, the most basic institutional safeguards failed. Epstein died in federal custody under circumstances that multiple former FBI officials publicly called statistically improbable. Yet no serious accountability followed, and this raises the uncomfortable question we are trained not to ask if justice collapses consistently at the top. Is that failure or design? George Orwell wrote that power is not means, it's an end. The Epstein case shows us what power looks like when it no longer needs to explain itself. So the real challenge is not to ask how Epstein existed. The real challenge is to ask how many systems still require our silence to survive. Because when crimes are erased rather than confronted, the scandal is no longer the act. The scandal is the structure. Thanks for listening.